What's up guys, Maximilian here, and welcome back to another Real Talk. So we're going to be switching it up from arcade stories this week, and there was actually a topic that has been floating through my brain over the past few days about how the competitive level of fighting games has really changed ever since Street Fighter 4 has come out. So, to give you guys a little bit of perspective, ever since Street Fighter 4 has come out, the scene has been mostly dominated by console play. By playing and purchasing a game and getting good at the game at home and playing a bunch of people depending on how much time you put into the game. This is a huge contrast to how things used to be with fighting games, where the fighting game you had did not have like a faithful home console port, and you just had to play in the arcades. Like, there was no way for you to actually get really good at a lot of fighting games because, one, there wasn't a good fighting game that actually had a console port sometimes. Like, Third Strike didn't have a console port for a huge amount of time that was actually faithful to the arcade. And some games just took a really long time to come out on consoles, so you had just the arcade at your disposal to get really good at fighting games. And this is a huge difference from people just constantly practicing and playing, like I was saying. A lot of this comes down to what I was going to bring up in this episode, and that is, what do you want to win, or how badly do you want to win, or what is your incentive to winning? Like a lot of folks, my competitive nature as far as being the best kind of like waned when I got older and older. But my competitive nature when it comes to a lot of things, as far as like losing, I just absolutely hate losing. It just bugs me to no end, and I immediately want to get back into the match. I find myself just constantly just like rematching people over and over and over again so I can get like that sweet 10-game win streak on whatever game I'm playing, just so you can feel good. It's like, alright, we're good now, I can take a break, it's been 6 hours I've been playing this damn video game, no more. And that's really like where it comes to your competitive level of nature. How competitive are you, and what is your incentive to win? Because nowadays your incentive to win is based off how like hungry you are, how good you want to be at these certain games, and how much of the best you want to be amongst your echelon of the community. It really depends on your peers and the people around you, how much they're pushing you and how much they actually want you to get better, or you want to get better than them. And that's really important for you guys that are looking for like this incentive to win and how badly you really want to win. But nowadays, it's the incentive to win is a lot different. Like, for me personally, the biggest incentive to win was to play more of said video game. Like, for example, back in the day when you had an arcade, people put a huge mound of quarters up on the arcade machine waiting for their turn in line to play the game. If you lost, well, guess what? You lost money. And if you kept repeatedly losing, you lost a lot of money over and over and over and over again. And that was something kind of like respected. Like, if this person actually really wants to put in that much money and they're learning something over and over again, that means they want to get really good. And that's how you actually earned a lot of respect in arcades, even though you didn't put a lot of like, have a lot of success. Because over time you eventually get really good. And I've seen this happen with a ton of people in arcades that just started out really bad and they just didn't have anything going and they didn't know anything about the game, but they really liked it and they liked winning, so they kept playing and they got better to the point at which they beat everybody. And this was my incentive to win a lot, was the fact that when you had these huge lines to play games every once in a while, if you didn't do well, if you didn't win, you didn't get to play the game, dude. That was it. That you just could not even play this game you've been waiting all this time for. I remember this happening when the original Killer Instinct came out, and I was super young back then, and I didn't know anything about the game, and I wanted to win so bad so I could keep playing. That was the most important thing, was the fact that you had no other option at the time. You had to win, dude. If you didn't win, you lost your money and you lost your ability to play this badass video game that you love so much, and you gotta get to the back of the line and you gotta think about it the whole time. You gotta sit there and just think, man, what the hell did I do wrong? And this really stood with me for a long time, going through like Alpha 2 and Alpha 3 and Third Strike and X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom 1. This was around for a really long time, guys, like 10 years, like way longer than the competitive scene has been reinvigorated for fighting games now. The incentive to win back in the day was based on arcades, and this is kind of an arcade story, but I guess not. It's more based around how the incentive to win has changed. But it was around your money, it was around your time, and how much time you actually wanted to get good at something. And now it's completely different, because that incentive is totally gone, because you just get to play the game whenever you want now, at home. And I find myself, whenever I go to like offline tournaments that I've recently had the luxury of going to, or even previous tournaments where I join in and you actually do really well during said tournaments for games like Street Fighter 4 or Marvel 3 or whatever. Whenever I get later in these tournaments, I always think to myself, or think to myself afterwards, or even if I've won something like a tournament, which I've won like a few, and I forget that there's prize winnings. I forget that that was actually even a part, that you're going to get like a huge, or not huge, but a lump sum of money for getting first or second or third place at the end of this tournament. That actually is completely gone from my mind. Like even in the days when I had no money at all, and I had very remedial jobs, and I was going to college all the time, and I would go to fighting game tournaments for Third Strike and Street Fighter 4 and stuff like that. I really didn't think about the winnings ever at all. I never thought about getting cash for it. All I really wanted was to win so I could keep playing against all these people, so I can continually keep staying on the machine and having people watch you play, because that was a reward as well, to like do something cool in front of an audience and have the audience go, ooh, this is awesome. Like, I always liked that fact that you're able to entertain people while on the machine doing something awesome. That was my personal incentive to win, and that's why even nowadays when it comes to tournaments that I might randomly join, or I get the real infrequency of joining, that's my incentive to win, is to stay on the machine and to hopefully provide something of an entertaining experience for the people around me. And it's just funny that that kind of like twisted itself and mended itself into me like doing things on YouTube and showing off like a lot of different gameplay and character things and making topics like this one for you guys to watch. I actually get the most out of it here, and it's like my incentive to win has been changed a little bit, because it's that same thing from the arcades, that I just want to continually play the game and stay on the machine and show people and have people watch me playing this game. So it's an interesting topic, and it really had me thinking, like you guys can obviously tell from this video. But what I wanted to ask you is, what is your incentive to win? Is your incentive to make a lot of money? Is your incentive to become famous in the fighting game community? Is your incentive something else, like somebody that said something to you and you're inspired to get really good at something? Let me know in the comments below, for you guys that are actually competitive or looking to become competitive in fighting games, what is your incentive to win and why? Thank you guys very much for watching. My name is Maximilian, and I'll see you next time.